Judge Rebecca Hart slammed her gavel onto the bench. "Enough," she snapped. "I'm tired of hearing excuses." The courtroom fell silent. At the defense table sat Angela Brooks, a quiet black woman in a simple gray blazer. She looked calm, too calm. That immediately annoyed Judge Hart. Most defendants looked nervous. Angela looked like she was simply waiting for something. The prosecutor stood confidently. "Your Honor, the evidence clearly proves the defendant was involved." Judge Hart nodded before he even finished speaking. "Exactly." Several people in the audience exchanged glances. It almost seemed like the outcome had already been decided. Angela slowly stood. "Your Honor, there are several pieces of evidence that were never reviewed." The judge rolled her eyes. "More delays." Angela remained polite. "No, just facts." A few people quietly laughed. Judge Hart smirked. "You expect this court to believe you overtrained investigators." Angela said nothing. That confidence irritated the judge even more. For the next hour, every request Angela made was denied. Every objection ignored. Every argument dismissed. By the end of the hearing, Judge Hart looked pleased. She picked up the sentencing paperwork. "Angela Brooks," she announced, "this court finds sufficient cause to proceed with incarceration pending trial." Gasps spread through the courtroom. The prosecutor smiled. The judge smiled too. Angela slowly gathered her papers. Then she stood. "Before I leave," she said quietly, "I'd like to submit one final exhibit." Judge Hart laughed. "I've heard enough from you." Angela nodded. "That's unfortunate." The judge frowned. "What does that mean?" Angela calmly reached into her briefcase. Several deputies immediately stepped forward. Instead of documents, she removed a black leather badge wallet. Then she placed it on the defense table. "FBI." The room froze instantly. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. The prosecutor stared. Judge Hart blinked repeatedly. "What is that?" Angela opened the badge. "Special Agent Angela Brooks." The courtroom erupted into whispers. Judge Hart's smile disappeared. "This isn't funny." Angela calmly removed another folder. Then another. Then another. Each one carried official federal markings. "Active investigation. Confidential. Federal evidence." The prosecutor looked like he couldn't breathe. Judge Hart slowly sat down. Angela opened the first file. Inside were bank transfers, private messages, financial records, undisclosed payments connected to multiple court cases. The second file contained witness statements. The third contained recorded conversations. Every road led back to one person, Judge Rebecca Hart. The courtroom became completely silent. Angela looked directly at the judge. "For 14 months," she said calmly, "I've been working undercover as part of a federal corruption task force." Nobody spoke. Several reporters immediately stood. Cameras flashed across the room. Judge Hart looked terrified. "This is impossible." Angela pressed a small button on a recorder. A voice echoed through the courtroom. The judge's voice. Discussing favors. Discussing case outcomes. Discussing how certain defendants should receive harsher treatment. Gasps filled the room. The prosecutor slowly lowered his head. Angela continued. "The investigation uncovered bribery, abuse of authority, evidence tampering, and judicial misconduct." Judge Hart stood up. "You can't prove any of this." Before Angela could answer, the courtroom doors opened. Federal agents entered, one after another. The room fell silent again. A senior FBI supervisor approached the bench. "Judge Rebecca Hart," he announced, "you are now the subject of a federal criminal investigation." The judge looked completely stunned. Angela calmly closed the folders. Then she looked directly at the woman who had spent the entire day mocking her. "You thought I was the defendant." She paused. The room watched in silence. But this courtroom was the investigation. And for the first time all day, Judge Hart had nothing to say.